Okay, go live. I'll talk about it live. No
Yeah,
big
yeah,
deal.
and mess around. I mean,
Yeah,
Scott Adams messes around after he starts. Go ahead.
yeah.
We're that
You ready?
professional.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, we're on. In fact.
Oh, okay. Good deal. So I was just telling Ellis, I'm going to quote what I told somebody at my work, one of the salespeople. I said, I feel like my nuts have been in a ringer all week. And I apologize if that's offensive, but it's been one of those weeks, dude. I didn't work. So, okay, so just to set the table for anyone watching that doesn't know, I work at a company that makes uh, awards, like trophies. We make a lot of we make trophies, we make police badges, we make medals, we make coins, we make just all kinds of awards. Our big thing
Hmm.
is do a lot of trophies. We do a lot of corporate awards. If you work at a company for 20 years and they give you maybe a ring, like I have a ring from my company, and we make that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And I am in charge of what they call the tool and die department, which is we made all of the medallic stuff, which is like uh, coins, medals, police badges, lapel pins, all that kind of stuff. And I've been in charge of that department for about 3 years, I think. I got the job when
That long.
yeah, I've got the job when the old boss retired.
Okay,
Uh,
but
and
not officially right off the bat. You just
yeah,
did
oh
it
yeah, 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 oh yeah.
as a
I've almost
courtesy.
at about 2 years. I worked for about 2 years where I ran the department, and I won Employee of the Year, and I won all these awards. I won an award every year since my boss left. Not trying to blow my own horn, but just to say a lot of people appreciated what I did. And then ultimately, I was made head of the department. I got a fairly substantial raise, not huge, but fairly substantial. And so then come on now to a year ago. They oh hang on a second. Sorry, I noticed my battery's running down. Shouldn't be. I got it plugged in. Should be charging. Anyway, uh, so a year ago, I you're there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. It was real quiet. So like a year ago, I,
Yeah, I wasn't saying anything.
yeah, I know nothing for you to say, right? So a year
Right.
ago, or a year and a half ago, they built me a new room, which was the old sales floor, and it's a room that's probably 40 by 60, maybe. It's a huge room. And they went in and they pulled up the nasty carpet, they repainted it, they pulled down the ceiling tiles. Very modern looking. I mean, it looks unlike any other department in my company. And they put my department in there, and they put the sculpting department in there. The guy in charge of sculpting for 30 plus years retired. They put them in there, and then they put our 3D department in there. And then ultimately they put all this under me. Now I did not get any more money after that. There was never a. It was never presented as, "Do you want to be in charge of these guys?" I had heard they were going to do it, and I was happy to do it. I was excited about it because I felt like it was an opportunity for me. So then they put just like 2 weeks ago, they put our mold makers under me. There were two guys that were considered part of the sculpting department, but they were mold makers. They were in another building. They moved them into our building, not in our room, but in our building, in a different area, in an old area that wasn't being used for production. And they've been going along. And so I now have, I think I counted today, I got 15 people under me in three departments in three different rooms, and they're all artists, sculptors, machinists, mold makers. I mean, a whole range of people. And so Thursday, before we were closed Friday and Monday, one of my mold makers said,
I
I've
quit.
no, no,
No.
no. Uh, he said, I'm having Steve. Now Steve is my boss, so he's over all this, okay? But I'm the only person that answers directly to him, and he's the he and I answered. I mean, he's my direct boss, and all these people, I'm their direct boss. So, but Steve, this guy said Steve wants to have a meeting. Called me, and he wants to have a meeting with me. And the guy says, "I'd like for you to be in the meeting." And I said, "Well, I think I can do that." I said, I had to." I said, "But I can do that as long as it's okay with Steve. I'll do that." Uh, so then we get to looking, and their log is a mess. Nobody knows what's going out next, what's gone out, it's just a mess. And they have all these bowl games coming up. They need bronze. A lot of this is bronzes. They got sent to the foundry, and they got to pour
Yeah,
wax.
foundry work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 weeks, and they're
Yeah.
like, "What? We need these in November," and I'm like, "Crap, they're late already." I mean,
Hmm.
8 to 10 weeks is a huge production time, and
Oh
that's not
yeah.
done. That's just getting
Yeah.
pieces back to get trophies made out of them.
Hmm. Sure. Get approval. Yeah, that pipeline would be insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Guess who? So I, so we had this meeting, I get to looking at it. I'm like, this is kind of a mess, and so I start talking about to one of the sculptors who's kind of been helping them, and like, here's what we need to do. So we started formulating some plans. So we went to the meeting, and it was a good meeting, but it was basically like, you guys are behind. And I'm like, crap. So I've been working, trying to get all their information organized. I made a spreadsheet with all these orders, and which parts they need, and where they're at, and when they actually need them. So that was Monday at that meeting, and that went pretty well. I didn't get yelled at, but my boss called me later, and he goes, "I want you to put them on a 2-week turnaround for waxes." Okay. So I started putting together this spreadsheet. Well, then Wednesday, I started looking at when is this stuff really due, because all the due dates are out of whack, right?
Hmm.
All the due dates were like for the art. None of them are for when the event is. So I started calling salespeople. Okay, hey, I got to, I'm over sculpting now. I'm trying to get this organized, make sure everything's on track. I said, I'm not calling to tell you there's a problem. I just need to know when is this event that you want this trophy for? When do you need this? And I went through, and several of the people said that order has been. One of them told me, I'm shocked. He goes, that order's been in there for 2 months, and you're telling me it ain't gone to the foundry yet? And I want to know what's going on. And I said, look, I've been in charge of it for 2 weeks. Okay. I don't know. I can't answer for what happened before I was in charge of them, but I can tell you that I am in the process of fixing it, and I don't think there's anything to worry about. Well, actually, this guy's was already late, so I didn't tell him that because he was not happy, and I was like, ah, crap. And several people gave me that saying, oh, and these are people I've worked with that have told me, you're a great employee. We love working with you, but apparently not if their stuff is. And I
Yeah.
wasn't
I
calling.
mean, yeah, you can get on anybody's that pipeline and
Oh,
messing up somebody else's promise on something.
oh,
Uh,
absolutely. I don't,
it's
and I
going
don't blame.
to make you unpopular. Yeah.
I'm unpopular. Oh, today I was so today I'm in the our wood shop. It's a huge building, and we had a trophy part that got broken. One of my guys it was a resin piece, and it got broken. One of my guys fixed it. It was painted, so I was able to patch it. And he said, "Can you take this over there?" I took it over there, and I got stopped by the president of the company, and he goes, "The owner wants to talk to you." And I'm like, "Oh crap!" And never once has the owner stopped me and told me, "Scott, my boy, you're doing a good job. Here's
Yeah.
$1,000." It's
Yeah.
like,
No, they've only got one purpose when they want to talk
yeah,
to you.
I did not get chewed out, but I got a stern talking to about how fast, and it wasn't mold making. It was my sculptors. So my sculptors, and I don't want to get into too many details, but basically there's one project that one of the guys has been working on that the owner is overseeing. This is something he's instigated. we need to make this particular figure. Now, I've heard through the grapevine he wants us to start doing mascot figures. He's convinced that mascot figures could be a big thing for us. Okay.
Sure. No,
So
no, I'd rather have a mascot figure than just about anything.
there you
Fred.
go. That's so so uh so I've heard this, but the problem is normally this needs to be connected with an order. So he stopped me and he was like, "Hey, where are we at on those mascot figures?" He goes, "I go in there and I see this same figure on that guy's desk." And I go, "Well, he's been working on other stuff. He's been working on orders, and he's working on that in between. We need to get this."
Yeah, you got to figure out always what the boss thinks is ought to be in the dog and pony pipeline. Yeah. He wanted his proof of concept on his big idea.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and so,
yep.
and so I'm like, okay. I said, okay, we'll get to working on it. We'll get a plan together. I'll talk to my people. We'll get going. And so, and I don't think he was real happy with that. So, but I mean, I was totally kind of left field,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So,
says, hey, hi, boss.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was delivering a bean. It was a resin bean for top of a NASCAR trophy. Anyway, so then I go back to my desk. Oh, I had to go upstairs, and I hear that the vice president of sales called, who he thought was my boss, but he wasn't my boss, because apparently several of these salespeople I called him and complained that I was calling him about this.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to get their stuff out on time. I was hot because, dude, I sent people at my work. You can send people points if they help you, and we have a catalog and you can order stuff. Like I ordered Amazon cards with mine. I got some recently and I ordered Amazon cards, so it's as good as cash. And I sent everyone that answered my questions. I sent them points and said, thank you for helping me. And somebody called my boss complaining. He's like, well, he wasn't complaining about you. He was complaining about the length of time. And he goes, I explained to him, you've only been over the department for 2 weeks, which apparently doesn't matter. Anyway.
No, that's another one of those things,
Oh, so
you'll get very little sympathy around someone that.
Oh, yeah. So one of my mold makers was out yesterday. So mold making's been trying to catch up. And I have one guy that he's retired, so he can work 2 days a week. And he kicked butt yesterday. Got a bunch of stuff out. The other guy comes in today. Now that guy's gone. So the other guy comes in and he's like, well, I'll do it. I can. And I'm like, man, dude, you got to get some energy in you. This is the time I need everybody to dig in. We've got to get this stuff. And everybody's watching us, and he's like, so anyway, so he didn't get a third of the production the other guy did yesterday, but he hadn't done it as long. He's newer, but he's just low energy.
Yeah.
And and so and me, man, I'm like, yeah, let's get it done. I'm enthusiastic about everything.
Yeah.
So then I go back and so I'm figuring out this guy's not going to get a lot done today. So I go back to my desk. On my cell phone rings. It's the vice president of the company calling. I wanted to talk to you some more about this thing. Well, come to find out, he's got me on speakerphone, and the owner, or I'm sorry, not the vice president, the president, and the owner is listening, and they're, what are we going to do about this? And I had talked to my sculptors, and so I told them, I said, well, we got some part. I don't know what. I kind of fumbled my way through it, and they said, well, we're going to be over every day to see how it's progressing.
Yeah, that's good. Never good either. That's another reason that the pressure starts to mount is if someone all of a sudden decides you need to be have your shoulder looked over. Yeah.
Oh, they told me we're going to micromanage you, and I'm going, go. So, yeah. So so then I hang up, and then I get a phone call from the salesperson. Oh, and so I've realized this conversation that more of his thing is about mascots. He's like, "We get this mascot thing going." So then the salesperson calls me and he goes, "Hey, did you just talk to Big Dave?" And I go, "Yeah." "How'd you know? Were you in there?" He goes, "No, but somebody else was, and they told me." He goes, "Hey, we don't have an order." And there's one particular school, I'm not going to say who the school is, that they're wanting us to do a mascot on. So he said, "Hey, we haven't got an order for that. Don't do anything yet." And I'm like going, "Hang on, wait." So I talked to the guy for a minute. And so he lets me go. And so I think about it for a second. So I call my people here and I said, "Look," I told them everything. And I said, "Look, here's the deal. The owner's watching us. We got to start producing." And I put one of my sculptors, I said, "I just want you to start doing mascots. Start doing this one. When you get done, we're going to work on another one. Whatever you need to just start doing mascots, because apparently that's what the owner wants." And he was excited. He was like, "This is great." And I'm like, "Oh gosh." So then what I did is I went back to the mold making room, and I told the guy back there, and this is like 5:15. I told the guy, "Go, hey, I need to use your room to make a phone call." I said, "Don't. It's not about you." I said, I just need a little bit of privacy, because my room is completely open. Anybody walking down the hall can hear me talking." And so I called that salesperson back, and I told him, I said, "I just want to talk to you about this." And I said, "Look, I know you told me not to do it, but we're going to start working on it." And I told him all this stuff. I told him why. And I go, "Look, I'm under all this pressure. I just rattled off all this stuff that's going on." And we talked about it. He said, "Oh yeah, the owner's really excited about this." I said, "Well, we're going to start producing these." I said, I know that you told me not to. And I said, I didn't want to do it and not tell you I was going to do it. And he goes, no, you're absolutely right. This is great. Anyway, but I did all that in the mold making room because I hope the mold making guy realizes that
it's important to somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's not necessarily working on it, but we're going to be under a lot of scrutiny. And so everyone needs to be on their A game. And, so I tried to use this. Doesn't really do anything with him. Kind of. And so then I started talking to him about what he was doing. "Oh, I got this done." And I said, "Look, what's the goal to get out tomorrow?" And he kind of named a couple of things. I said, "Well, and so I started, he was talking about, it takes, my wax won't heat up till 9 because it takes an hour and a half. I said, "Look, I'll come in at 7 and turn your wax pot on if you want." "Well, I don't want you to have to do that."
You'll start a fire.
How long does it take to do this and that? "Well, about 45. So I said, "So you're working till 12:30, so you could get," and he said, "You know what? I can get 2 out tomorrow." Anyway, it's like, I'm trying to use this crisis as a way to light a fire under one of my employees who needs a fire lit under him.
Yeah,
anyway, that's my week, man. Holy cow. Yeah. It was a short week. I'm just in for a lot of misery.
Well, but you still keep the same hours. They don't expect you to. They don't want to pay you overtime, basically. What I gather from your work.
Well, no, I'm management. Here's the thing.
Oh yeah, you're salaried, sure, but
no, I'm hourly, but I'm management, so I can pretty much work. I can do whatever. They don't care what I do. Honestly, I mean, they trust me to make the right choices. Now, if I make the wrong choices, they may untrust me.
But sure.
They know if I'm there, I'm not going to milk the clock. I'm doing it because stuff needs to get done.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Here, what somebody pointed out, the salesperson said, here's the thing. You've got Dave's attention. That's the owner. You got Dave's attention. He goes, so now he knows who you are and he's watching you. So it's like, Well, I told my wife, I go, this won't. I have no expectation of this being something that I do spectacular and get like a big raise out of it.
Barton Fink.
This can only what?
I say, Barton Fink, Jack's taking an interest. You don't want Jack to take an interest.
Oh, you do. Well, the owner, and I don't want anybody to misinterpret. The owner's a great guy, but he used to be a coach, and so he's all about coaching people and
sure.
inspiring people and whipping people into, you know, he's a great guy. I mean, I like the guy, but God, I mean, he comes around and he asks me what's going on, and it's not like what am I working on. It's like what are we doing? He wants me to tell him what everybody in my department is working on.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know what he wants me to be able to recite at a moment's notice what 15 people are working on. And typically he knows more about these orders than I do because he knows the backstory on them, like how we got the account.
Well,
and he's sharp.
he knows whether or not he's going to make any money or not. He's got to make sure he's got his bottom line covered on all of it. So yeah, he knows them, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, he knows. But anyway, so I'd gotten to where every time he came around, it gave me a little anxiety, like, oh my gosh. But
yeah.
But here's the thing: I'm in management. I've said, man, I'd love to be over all the artists there. Well, if I were in those shoes, if I was really like an art director, because I manage about half the artists there that work at the company. If I were to manage the other half, it would be like this constantly, and that would require a lot of money.
Yeah, it would. Sounds like. Hey, here's some old comments that occurred.
Yeah.
Nasser says, guys, I just watched Blowout. Have you ever seen Blowout, Scott? It's got what's his name from Welcome Back, Kotter, and Pulp Fiction. What's his name?
Is John Travolta in Blowout?
John Travolta. Yeah.
Oh,
Blowout.
I confused. There's another movie I confused Blowout with.
Well, there's Blowout, and then there's one that was kind of it's inspired by called with the Italian director called Blow Up, I think. Yeah, Blow Up or something.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've seen that. And there's another movie that I always confuse Blowout with. And I always...
Which is kind of weird. Here you got this guy that already takes a big load of pain and but comparisons to Hitchcock. Here he goes. Says, and now we will copy the famous Italian director for my new film, Blowout. You may have known it as Blow Up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a pitch for you. I've been reading this lately.
You can't read that. What language are you reading?
I can't read that. There's no. You know what this is? Your sketchbook.
Sure. Yeah, my sketchbook.
I mean, there's no word.
There's no words in it.
But
it is a language spoken by all doodlers. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, this is great. I've been taking this to work with me all week and reading it, looking at it at lunchtime.
Reading it. You know what's funny about that? A lot of those in there is like it can give me so much kind of like almost anxiety when I look at it, because a lot of it is me trying to disguise the fact that I've got nothing to do unless I learn how to do something new. And so I'm just doodling because nobody's had me do anything. So I'm just kind of keeping myself busy. And that's why I call it idle hands.
Did you do this at work?
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of those at work. Right next to the my work area. I'd say, I'd almost be nervously doodling. Say, no one wants me to concept anything, so I'll draw something. Well,
what's funny is my guys at work, when I was only over about 5 guys, when we'd get slow, I'd have them, especially the new guy. His Illustrator skills were a little weak, and so I'd have him draw stuff in Illustrator, and he'd sit there and draw stuff all day on
That's
days on
cool.
Illustrator, and he got pretty good. He did some pretty cool illustrators. At one point, I stopped him and I said, because he'd show them to me, and at one point I stopped him and said, "Hey, I want to show you that compared to your portfolio that you sent to get the job." And it was like night and day, man.
Well, yeah,
You know,
but I've told
and
you the same thing, you know, in terms of like what you're selling. You don't want anybody telling you that that you do Illustrator stuff in a cooler way than you do pencil stuff. You know, he's probably the same way. You know, it's like, yeah, whatever. You know, he does his. Okay, go ahead.
He doesn't draw by hand.
He doesn't at all. Okay.
No, not. No, I don't know if I've ever seen him draw stuff. Most of the artists at work, they don't draw. One of my sculptors draws, and he'll draw out his sculptures, and he's really good. I think my sculptors are pretty good artists. I don't know if I've seen all of them. One of them has a big spiral bound sketch pad, like 11x14, that they've drawn all these concepts on. He's done them for different sculptures and stuff like that. And
so in terms of like putting out a little concept art piece, how do they do it? Do they always do it with photo mock-ups and playing around Photoshop and all that?
It kind of depends. I mean, you got to realize a lot of stuff we get is, I mean, they'll just lay it out in Illustrator. It's not that complicated.
Well, yeah, and it's all based on time too. Yeah, the video game stuff, all these concept artists, you learn how to do a quick knock up of something, you know, if you want to, like I say, put it in the pipeline, you know.
Yeah,
get people saying, yeah, I like that, I like that.
There's not a lot. There's not, you know, they're not drawing spaceships and stuff like. I mean, it's you know, we'll draw cars, but typically, if they're going to draw it. I mean, typically we'll draw it on top of a photo, you know, just trace a photo and illustrate.
Maybe even do, that'd be another thing that you might do is like, go ahead and do a photo shoot of whatever it is you're going to concept. And then you're halfway there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did on my comic. I issue 4 had all those cars. So I shot Hot Wheels.
Sure.
I shot tons of photos of Hot Wheels and used that for the guidelines or for the, you know, for the basis of it. Some of it I traced, some of it I just, you know, kind of went off of it, and I would exaggerate stuff to make it look cooler.
I was in Walmart today and was pleasantly surprised that they've still got cartoons, or I think that's what it's called still. You know, it had the old logo and all that. Yeah, I was amazed. I should have bought it. You know, I don't know why I didn't buy it, because I was so I dug it so much, picked it up. It's the exact same sort of layouts and everything. I said, man alive, this is still, they've decided to bring this back and try to make it thrive again, which is cool.
You know, my cousin Mario that I sent you, I sent you the link to his Flickr with all his art. At one point, he had cartoons in Cartoons magazine.
Wow. Cool. You know, I mean, the styles, there was no house style to cartoons. If you could draw a car, you were in.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Maybe I should send them something. Because I have so much time. So anyway,
yeah, I'll have to check on that and see what the story is on that resurrection of that.
Yeah, no, probably something online.
Heck, I may try to freelance for them. That'd be a kick.
I've decided you like to talk about getting work more than you like getting
work.
No,
there'd be special cases. You know, I've actually had on the phone, I bought the CD of all of Drag Cartoons, and I had phone number on it, Pete Millar. It's spelled Millar. And I had called that phone number, and by golly, I was talking to the guy that put all these magazines out when I was a kid, and it was fun.
Oh my!
And then I think the guy was dead within like about, I mean, it's not funny, but I think he's dead within about 2 months after that. It's kind of weird. He sounded just fine and cheery, and he answered all my trivia questions. Like, well, are you going to do this with a Wonder Warthog and all this kind of stuff? And it's like I think there was some sort of legal thing about Wonder Warthog, but I've got those too. I think somewhere. Well, I've got all of them that appeared in drag cartoons, but I don't.
Well,
but,
whenever we have a conversation like this at work, I always tell people, well, you know what the great thing is about death? And they'll say, what? I go, happens to all of us.
Yeah, all of them.
Which
That's
really,
right. And as bad
really,
as a story as you can tell about it, a personal story, it's like someone will just look at you and say, yeah, something like that happened to me too. You think it's like, you think you're describing like no one can ever bear up to what I had to bear up to. And then you realize, no, everybody had that much pain.
Part of the human condition.
Yep.
But anyway, so that was my week. So I've got my comic book worked out though.
Oh, cool.
You can see this.
You got thumbnails there.
Okay,
yeah.
So thumbnails. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I've got I think I told you this last week. I've got issue 2 and 3 done. So I'm just waiting for the colors for 4, and I'll be ready to go. I was going to check and make sure I had all the letters, because that's what stymied me last week. There were some letters that I was missing on one of the pages. One of the pages I was missing a complete page of letters. Anyway, okay, so you remember I did that 4 issues or four pages of the guy flying in, fighting the masked wrestlers, getting in the car, going to Times Square, and there's an explosion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember that. So
yeah, I remember that.
That is going to fit in this story.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think I mentioned this, that I wanted to put some story around it to expand it. So there's going to be, and I haven't worked out the exact arrangement. I don't really have to. So there's going to be an interlude, and there's going to be a skyscraper. There's going to be a guy climbing like down it. He's going to be dressed like a ninja or something like that, but he's going to be all black. He's going to break in this building. He's going to go in. Someone's going to come up behind him with a gun. There's going to be a fight. He's going to choke the guy out. Then he's going to go, and you'll see that on a pedestal is this weird. Oh, and by the way, when he goes in the room, you're going to see there's going to be like wrestling memorabilia in the room. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So then there's going to be this weird device on a pedestal. Okay. That's one interlude. So another interlude is going to be a superhero in space, and they're flying, and they come across a spaceship, and they're going to be like, oh, a spaceship. They're going to try and make contact, and you're going to see inside the ship, you're going to see some silhouettes of people with big horns, like Viking kind of helmets. There's just going to be silhouettes, and they're going to say something, and they're going to release this laser. It's just going to fry this hero that's flying in space, just vaporize him. And they're going to say something like fire or something, and then the beam is going to destroy this hero, and then it's going to go back to the inside of the ship, and it's going to say, launch the drop ship. Okay. So then I'm going to go to a story that is it's going to be like some superheroes, like think of like the Fantastic Four and their headquarters, and there's kind of some chaos.
That sounds like what it needed was something a little more fantastical than just walking into an air terminal. Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
So the it's going to be like kind of like the Fantastic Four. One of them's going to be an experimented on. All of a sudden, there's going to be like some chaos as like all this machinery starts going crazy. The guy that that's being strapped down this machine is all of a sudden in this obvious pain, and then all of a sudden one of the guys is going to like pull the power plug or something. It's going to be, oh, thank God you saved his life. And then there's going to be this alarm, and the alarm is going to be saying something has just entered the atmosphere. Like the main leader is going to be going, the alarm's going off. Something's entered the atmosphere. And then somebody's going to run in, and they're going to go, there's been an explosion in Times Square. So that is going to dovetail with the airplane story. You know what I'm saying? That's the explosion.
Yeah.
So then they're going to say, oh, it's going to end up with they're going, go to the roof. And they're going to go to the roof, and they're going to take off in some kind of spaceship, or not spaceship, but like a hovercraft or whatever, some kind of flying device. And then they're going to come down, and they're going to fly, and they're going to see these big 9-foot tall space Vikings fighting with the guy that was on the plane. His name is Paul. With Paul, and they're going to go, look, there's Paul, and he's fighting some space Vikings. So it's like they're tying into that other story, and so the space story is going to be before this story. It's how and so you go, okay, that's where these guys came from, and then so they're going to fly their ship around. Oh, that's when they're going to go, look, it's Paul, and there's going to be a strong guy. He's going to jump out, and when he jumps out, we're going to do the flashback to the spy thing, okay? And then what's going to happen is they're going to fight these Vikings, and they're going to be getting their butt kicked. And then, like, towards the end, this guy that broke into the building is going to show up, and he's going to have this device, and he's going to use it to defeat the space Vikings. And that's the end of the story.
Cool. Well, that's definitely more than enough work for, basically a sample. Jeez. If that's all you've got, if that's the only ambition you've got for it. Or is it going to be a self-published item?
I don't know if I'm going to self-publish it, but it's going to be printed.
Okay, it will be printed. As a what? Okay.
Well, it depends on how much money
Okay, so you will self-publish. I mean, there's no reason that it costs you anything. If you want to just make a PDF of it, you could either sell it on Gumroad, or you could sell it on Amazon on a print-on-demand basis. You could do a dozen different things that wouldn't even cost you to do it. Except that I think your battery just died right in the middle of me finally getting to talk. I'm kidding you, Scott. In case you can hear me. Let's see. Exit solo layout. Scott's image is still there. That may be a burn-in from when his battery just died. I was going to explain the Bozo Regrets headline. Yeah, Scott just totally got nuked, I guess. I imagine he'll be back if he can be back. So if he's not back, I'll just go ahead and explain Bozo Regrets as a symptomatic of my own life, in terms of like a guy that regrets having not done this or that, and the regret always being fear-based or anxiety-based. There was nothing I wanted to do more at one time than when I was at the state fair and the insult clown, Bozo, was in the dunk tank. Man, I thought that was the funniest doggone thing I've ever heard. And I just wanted to queue up and be one of the guys throwing baseballs at him. At the target, obviously, not at him. Had to dunk him. But the self-consciousness of that, the something got Scott. Yeah. But the self-consciousness overrode that joy I could visualize having of throwing those baseballs. And I realized that getting up and being the target of all the insults was just something I could not make myself do. Now that's I would call that crucial to living, is being the guy that can get up there and absorb those arrows from Bozo. be that guy and have a good time doing it. So I just wanted to tell you what that headline was about, Bozo Regrets. See what my other list of things I might have brought up if Scott hadn't told us about his work. You guys can tell how many times I've heard work stories from Scott. Oh, I wanted to talk about, hey, Natasha International's back. I don't know where Scott went. He may not even be trying to get back. He may have so many dead batteries at this point that he just can't figure out a way to get back. Natasha International says, evening. There he is. There he is. Hey, Scott, you're back.
Yeah, my phone died.
Yeah. You said something about a battery. So I kept everybody amused. I think. I don't know.
I'm sure
we have did. Natasha International.
The bad thing is,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm on my iPad now, and I don't have a way to project it over my work. So
over to
anyway.
Okay.
Well, see, because my phone normally sits on this thing.
Oh, I got you. You can't show your work. In other words, all you can do is show yourself or whatever.
Right, because it's laying down on the desk.
Okay.
So I apologize for that. But
that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
We're 40 minutes. We're 40 minutes in. Yeah. Here's a topic for you. Well, actually, that's not much of a talk. Oh, part of why I was telling you there might be a delay was that house I was going to go check out.
Yeah.
Well, I managed to do all that. Well, it's a really cool place, but at $980,000, it ought to be cool. Oh. And it's got this. You go out the back, and there's this little triangular porch that it's got, where it's like, imagine a cake slice just taken out of the building to form this little porch that you're outdoors on. And that has got a view of the whole downtown and looking out over the thing that is just so cool. I mean, it was like, man, this is worth $980,000 right here.
For $980,000, Ellis, you can drive there every single day, and
you could afford to live in a really nice place in San Diego for that ticket. So it's kind of hard. Yeah. It's hard to imagine that they can find too many people willing to cough that up for downtown Oklahoma City.
Especially there's nothing. I mean, I like going. I mean, I love going downtown. Ellis and I go downtown quite a bit. I love walking around, but I've gone down on the weekends, and it sucks because there's people everywhere if there's something going on, or there's nobody down there. And stuff is there's not a lot to do if there's not some kind of event. And there's a few restaurants, but they're all real crowded. I mean, I used to want to live. I mean, my wife works downtown. I used to want to live downtown by her work. And really, during the last summer, not last year, but in 2020, there was some issues downtown that I wouldn't want to deal with.
yeah. Antifa issues.
Yeah. And
girls in gorilla masks throwing eggs. Yeah.
I heard about that. That's creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy because he was surrounded by allegedly, supposedly his talk was to the homelessness issue in Venice Beach, but I bet you a donut that he didn't get surrounded by homeless people. I imagine Antifa was the kind of people that tried to thug him, because the homeless they don't get all invested in that kind of stuff, whether or not Gavin Newsom is going to continue to be the governor or not. That wouldn't be something they would jump on you for. But go ahead.
I agree. But yeah, you're right. I mean, would you say $900,000, almost $1 million? You could buy a nice place anywhere. I mean,
Anywhere.
now,
No, yeah, there's no barrier. And the place really, as you go in and walk it and start thinking of having a little tape measure on your feet as you stride around this place, it's not that big. It's got big, nice ceilings and all that. But
yeah, but I don't live on the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. Square footage wise,
How many
they're
square foot?
really. I could look it up without clicking on our link and killing us.
Don't do that.
I did that last time.
How did it compare to your house?
Well, it's obviously bigger, but it was. Let's see if I can find the open house, Northwest 7th. Let's see. It is not. No, it's actually 910,000. Okay. And it says 2565 square feet. So in other words, it is just a little over 2,000 square feet. It's not big, you know.
Wait, it's how much again?
2,500 square feet. 2,500 square feet.
That's a little bit bigger than my house. I think mine's 23 or 24.
Exactly. It is your house, basically, but with kind of some cool architecture. Yeah, view downtown and kind of cool architectural stuff. It's got a little thrust of a little cube that goes out the side that it's it's just there to hang some windows out into space, and it's cool. You know, it's like anything that's semi-cantilevered or whatever, you know. But it's a little extra, you know, oomph.
But you'd be insane to spend that much money on a house in Oklahoma.
You would be insane. I can't imagine you ever getting it back. But the deal is, a lot of this stuff, of course, is speculation. People are saying we are going to become a us and them society, and you've read about all these buy-ups that are going on that are just basically.
Here's what I would. Okay. Let's put that in perspective, Ellis.
Okay.
You know the building south of Michelle that old
yes
temple with the dome on it, that huge building.
Yeah.
Now it's decrepit. It needs a lot of work.
Right.
I think that only sold for $500,000.
I can't believe that. That's you would spend $500,000 for a bungalow on Coronado in San Diego. So easy. I mean, you couldn't get away with spending that little, on Coronado for anything. So that's kind of weird that didn't go for any more, considering where it's at.
Yeah.
And the structure that it amounts to. Golly, it has to have gone for more than that.
No, I think that's what Michelle told me, because it wasn't a huge amount of money.
I
mean,
wow.
$500,000 is still a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money.
But it's not. I mean, but it's a lot of space, and to me, it's in a more desirable area than where that thing you're talking about.
It's just in the heart of the city. Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about living downtown. I mean, heck,
yeah.
Last time I walked by there was a legless homeless guy living on the grass.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
man.
That's you want to talk about your big city LA downtown experience.
Yeah.
That's it right there, man.
Well, it would be a kind of weird cough up $900K for a place like that, and then try to set off on foot and say, well, I just spent all this money and I'm surrounded by people that haven't got a penny.
Yeah.
And which is why that's the LA experience anymore, and it's got people up in arms over the Newsom thing. But you know what? I'll make this firm prediction right now. It doesn't matter what the polls show or anything. There is too much at stake on that election to let Larry Elder or anybody tip Newsom out of there. They've got a Senate appointment coming up. They're very older, can forget it. He's not going to be allowed to get close to a Senate appointment as a Republican.
You talk about Feinstein?
Yeah. And just in general, they've gotten so good at the election fraud. They just will, just the ability to use it means they will use it. And so and the stakes of all those people. You talk about Trump being hated. You get all those government employees in California feel like they're getting a guy that's semi-libertarian in power.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is going to say, no, we can't let this happen. And all of a sudden, the mail-in balloting will show a blowout for Gavin Newsom, our man.
Yeah, that's what I would have said about Arnold, though.
Well, Arnold had it handed to him very quickly. He learned his lesson, and Arnold has basically become he was always a semi-democrat anyway. He always kind of like talked a kind of conservative. He talked everyone should take care of themselves kind of thing, and a entrepreneur. That's the deal. Obviously, Arnold was an entrepreneur, and that's what he always talked about big. But beyond that, he's very much a liberal.
Oh yeah, he didn't marry into that family accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want to show you a book I got.
Okay.
I don't know if you're interested in this kind of thing.
Let's see.
So at one point recently, I got $200 worth of Amazon cash through this thing at my work, and so I've been clearing out my wish list. And so I don't know if it's going to be backwards. Oh, no, it's not backwards. Can you?
The design and tuning of competition engines. How about that? All those cutaway sketches of engines.
Yeah, this is, dude. Okay, so when I was 16, I was really into cars, like every normal 16-year-old my vintage, male, I should say, my vintage. I was really into cars. I don't know if you were into cars when you were a kid, Ellis, but I was not
enough. I thought once about taking auto mechanics and didn't do it. I should have.
Well,
everybody should, basically.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they teach it anymore.
Maybe at Votech.
Hey, you're being asked for the Angels book is coming out. When is it coming out, Scott?
God. So, next 2022. They haven't announced it yet. They're supposed to announce it in sometime soon. I don't know. The fourth issue is still being colored.
Yeah.
Evans Rejects. Trust me,
Rejects.
When it comes out, everybody will know.
Everybody will know that tunes into this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I will call your house and.
Yeah.
No, it will not be a secret. And when it's available, however it's distributed, everyone will know for sure. Anyway, that book was on my Amazon wish list because when I was 16 or 15, I got out of the school library and read it. And it basically talks about how an engine works. It's very theoretical. It's a great book. I was reading it, some thermodynamics and heat transfer and all. It was way over my head, but it's just all this crazy stuff. But
can you imagine me going to a Votech class to take auto mechanics? Wim brings up the idea that they teach auto and Votech. Yeah.
Yep.
I would feel so. But I just had I gave a big lecture about regrets in life before you showed back up. What
did you regret?
Well, I regretted not throwing baseballs and trying to dunk the Bozo, the insult clown, at the state fair. And the reason,
state fair's coming up.
Yeah, coming up September. Yeah, always around my birthday. But the reason I didn't was for the most cowardly of reasons, because I would have been the subject of the insults.
Oh gosh, that sounds like an Ellis reason right there. That does sound like an Ellis reason.
Well, I think it kept 99% of people at bay. Most people would like to get up and say, "Yeah, let me try it." But this guy was so good at insults
Oh
that
yeah,
everybody was just laughing their butts off. But nobody wanted to have it pointed at them.
well, I think what I've seen, which I've been to the fair in a while, but what I've seen, there generally most people laughed, but there was usually the point was to get one guy that was willing to spend every dime he had.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
And there
yeah.
was
Yeah.
always one of those.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're supposed to get up there and just you love the fight. We talk about what makes things interesting. It's that conflict that this guy, he's got baseballs in his hands for his part of the fight. And the other guy has got his insults that he's throwing at you right and left. He's really good at it. So he's throwing the insults, you're throwing baseballs, and everybody's just, the crowd was just huge. I don't even know if they try to do anything like that anymore. I mean, it seems political.
I don't know.
Seems politically incorrect to dunk somebody. Yeah. Well, and all the insults. I don't think you could do the insults these days. I don't think you could just lambaste somebody the way that I remember it going on.
Yeah, no. It was, and it was typically, geared around. Okay, you're a bald guy. You're a fat guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're stupid looking, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 4 eyes. What do you got?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just every whatever you happen to have on is going to be just giving it
fair game.
Yeah. I give as good as I get, but I also was a cowboy and a martial artist, not a pitcher. What's funny is that I was there and present when our U.S. General Grant baseball pitcher that I had a homeroom class with, he was one of those guys that's like, "Are you sure you're in high school?" He looked like he was.
Oh yeah.
He looked like he was 30 already. And he had the testosterone that obviously just did a big dump on him in high school, and he was a really good pitcher. That guy, he was soaking that guy every pitch, dropping him. And they just figured it out, and they've got a stop that they can put on it to where even if you hit it dead center, it just bounces off. And they did that. And they had to just kind of like say, yeah, you've had enough fun. And kind of drove.
Don't kill our clown.
Yeah, well, nobody else could hit it. That was his favorite line. He'd go high and dry,
Yeah.
But
sounds like you're do a trip to the fair.
Oh yeah. I need to check it out again. Of course, nowadays I'd worry about is it even safe to go to the fair these days? I don't know. Do you think?
I don't know. And I don't know.
How long's it been since you've been to the fair?
I went a few years ago, but I went on a Friday as soon as they opened, right after I got off work, because a friend of mine had a booth in one of the things where he was selling, a friend from high school. And I went to go see him, and I hung out for about an hour, and it was raining, and there wasn't anybody else there hardly. And I bought a thing of cheese on a stick, it looked like a corn dog, but it was cheese. And I ate it in the rain, and I went home.
Man, that doesn't sound like a ticket for an airplane. What's that old song?
I don't know.
Got me a ticket for an airplane. Ain't got time for a fast train. Lonely days are gone. I'm a going home. My baby wrote me a letter.
Your hippie is showing, Ellis.
That's my. I'm trying to tell you the peak experience in the fair for me. The box tops, the letter. Give me a ticket for an airplane. I gotta see what
year
year
would that have been?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. The 60s. Jeez.
What? 53.
No. 67. Okay, yeah, that would have been about right. 67, I would have been 14, 15 years old. 14. And yeah, I went out there and it was like the hippies just hadn't gotten just a huge hook into the country yet. But there, I remember one of the most striking images when I at the fair was they were selling the posters, and all that, and it was Phi Zappa Crappa, and it was Frank Zappa sitting on the toilet. Yeah, and that was a huge seller at that fair.
Were you a Frank Zappa fan?
I was a huge Zappa fan. Yeah, I saw him twice here in this city. Yeah.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
like Frank Zappa a lot.
He was always great.
Friend of mine growing up was a huge guy who went to my church was a huge Zappa fan, and he kind of got me into it. And one of my best was in band at school, and at my school all the band kids were into Zappa. I got quite a few of his albums.
I'm trying to follow Wim's telling me about his he can't carry a gun, but he always has a couple of knives on him. Yeah, I tell you what, nothing would be more discouraging or rather shut a fight down. A guy produces a knife and he's up until that point he's been ready to knock your head off. He sees that knife. He's not going to try to take that away from you. The fight's over. It's if you've got any sense, the fight's over.
Yeah, I've seen video where people have said that in the right circumstances, a knife is actually more dangerous than a gun in a fight. I think I'd real still rather have a gun, but
Yeah. After I shot my little 22, which is single action. It's not you have to have it cocked to shoot it, and I was semi disappointed in my accuracy. I did all right, but the target is based on having a little rectangle in the middle of it, about the size of a beer can, so it's kind of like plinking, and and I backed it off to about 10 yards, and I don't think I ever got one in it. And that's pretty bad. Basically you want to be able to hit center mass pretty regularly if you want to shoot that gun. Yeah. Wim said, I used to have some Mothers of Invention albums myself. Oh yeah. Zappa's, he was always, and the stories are legendary about Zappa and his auditions. God, you had to be good to work for Zappa.
Oh yeah. I've read several books about biographies of him, and he was his thing was making music, and he would hire, once he got away from the Mothers. Actually, it was a good documentary on Prime, but once he originally it was him and the Mothers, and then he kind of got he got to where he's more of a composer.
Yeah.
And he just hire musicians and fire them.
Sure. Well, yeah. You have to be. You can't. You got all these lazy hippies that you just can't afford to let them retire around you with their work effort. You'd have to say, yeah, guys, you're in, you're out. And the tour thing, that only is going to last for a while in terms of like being able to bring in a crowd,
Yeah. So I have, with Frank Zappa and the Mothers, I have Freak Out, which is his first album. I have Whirling Up for the Money, which I think is their second or third one. I have Uncle Meat, Disc 1 and Disc 2. And then from Zappa himself, I have Apostrophe, I have Burnt Winnie Sandwich, I have the Grand Wazoo, which I really like. Of course, everybody likes apostrophe.
Yeah,
I like I got Hot Rats. I got
Hot
the Yellow
Rats. Got Captain Beefheart. Yep.
Yep, and I have Captain Beefheart's album on here too. What is it? Trout Fish Replica or
Trout. So basically,
Trout
Zappa.
Replica.
Yeah, he inspired you. It sounds like. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all that.
I have Lumpy Gravy. I have Jazz from Hell, and I have the Yellow Shark, which is like his last album that he recorded. It's a instrumental album. I mean, it's a orchestral album. And I thought I had something else on here, but I can't. I was thinking just recently I added something, and of course I can't find it. It may be
200 Motels is a lot of fun to watch because I think, as far as a bunch of creative people getting together and trying to document what the tour experience is like, it was a great little piece of. Eskrima is great. I do gutter fighting mostly. Well, no, that's the way to be. I mean, that is what it all turns into.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, if you're fighting and you're not fighting dirty, then
the other guy's going to win.
Yeah, unless you're in a boxing ring or something like that.
Yeah, I was just Scott, hour and 6 minutes. Do you want to call it quits or not?
Yeah, let's call it.
We'll call it. Hey, everybody, it sounds like we had about 4 people check in. Sorry if we ignored you any at all, but
sorry about my
thanks
camera.
for being here. Yeah, that's all right. That made it interesting.
You can watch
adios, adios, Fly Fox Pro. Adios, Nausea International. Adios, Wim.
Yeah,
bye-bye.